Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla and today we are going to be embroidering on this big heavy work jacket. We are doing the same simple FDF logo that we did in my last video. It's gonna go right here on the left pocket. And today we're gonna hoop it on the Freestyle Mighty Hoop Station. We're using a 5x5 Mighty Hoop today, and I'm gonna do it on my EM1010 because again, I have something else hooped for this. Don't wanna redo it. So that's what we're doing. I have my printout of the logo and I'll show you how I'm gonna place it on the jacket here in a minute. This is a very heavy, thick construction jacket. So after my last video, I got an email from Tiffany over at Mighty Hoop. Tiffany and I have become friends a little bit after my Mighty Hoop scam and everything. She reached out to me. They sent me a few goodies and I am so grateful. And so she emailed me after my last video and said, hey, I think using the freestyle stand would make it much easier. In my last video, I explained that I had a hard time hooping the vest on. I couldn't get it, the regular hooping stand, I couldn't get it like past these and it just didn't work. So she sent me a video using the freestyle stand. I've had this for a while and have never used it, and I was like, wow, that looks like it was much easier. So this is what we're gonna be using today, and I'm gonna show you guys how to hoop it, and it's gonna be so much easier. So let me show you how I'm going to place my design on here. It is a pretty tight fit, so we have to have 100% accuracy with this. So let me show you. Okay, so I have the printout of my design right here. Now, I was going back and forth between, do I want it to be like in line with this strap right here that's kind of awkward, or do I want it centered over the pocket? And I like it centered right over the pocket. I think that makes it uniform with the polos and work shirts that I did. So this is what we're gonna go with. As you can see, it's a pretty tight fit, but it does fit. We have a very little margin between the strap and the pocket, but it fits perfectly centered over the pocket. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm going to place it and pin it in place. Now this is very thick, so as you're working the pins through, don't poke yourself. There we go. So now it does get a little tricky because the pocket isn't perfectly straight. I don't know if you can tell right there, but like this thing isn't straight. The whole pocket itself is kind of crooked. So I'm basically just looking at, is it perfectly centered over it, and is it, you know, straight to me, not straight off of the pocket, but just, you know, straight across this way. So now what I did in the last video was hooped it this way to where this part goes on the machine. But what we're gonna do over here on the Mighty Hoop stand is hoop it this way so that we can unzip this, center this, and then put it on the machine this way, and it's gonna be much, much easier. We're not gonna have as much bulkiness into the thread of the hoop, and it's gonna be much easier to hoop over here on the stand. So let me show you what I mean. Okay, so I have the jacket unzipped, and we are going to put it on the Mighty Hoop stand basically like this. And you can see how much bulk that reduces this way, and it just makes it so much easier to line it up. Make sure it's centered, make sure it's where you want it. And overall, it's just so much easier than trying to slide the entire jacket onto this. We're doing just this section. And then that is gonna reduce the amount of bulk onto the throat of the machine in the back. So once we slide it onto the machine, there's nothing in the back here. Everything's out front, which is so much easier, because if I were to do it normal, like this, how I was doing it before, you have the hood, the shoulders, everything in the top part of the hoop in the machine. You're not as accurate, so this is gonna make it so much easier. So I have my cutaway stabilizer just already hooped. The bottom of my Mighty Hoop is in there. Everything is good to go. So I am going to follow the center of the hoop and line it up with the center of my printout right here. And I am kind of holding it back here just because it is such a heavy jacket and it's kind of hanging off my table. So I am just making sure that it is in line right here, making sure it is centered on my T-frame thing right here. And then making sure, of course, that it is straight because we have our very tight margin right here. I'm also going to make sure that The vertical line on the printout is straight in line with the center here. And we're gonna go down, and that is pretty darn spot on. I'm really happy with that. Now this is pretty bulky, so I might consider, depending on how it feels once I take it off, might consider adding some clamps for extra security, but that lined up really, really well. I'm really happy with how that lined up right here. So let's take this off. We're gonna make sure that our stabilizer is all the way hooped in the back, and it is. And I am really, really happy with how that turned out. All right, guys, now I have yet to buy the table that goes to the EM1010. So I have just a little stool right here that I'm gonna put right in front to hold up the bulk of the jacket, just to take some of the weight off of my brackets. I do that personally just because I don't like having a whole bunch of weight on them, obviously. So I have the stool here to hold up the weight of the jacket. I have a black bobbin in because the thread is going to be in black on this jacket. And I think we're ready to hoop it. So I'm going to put the bulk onto the stool just to help me out right now. And then we are going to load it onto the machine. Slide it all the way in. And so now you can see I don't have anything in the back of the throat right here, which makes it really, really nice. So I'm just gonna make sure everything on the sides is clear. Make sure it's not folded up under the sewing arm anywhere. And then we're gonna rotate our design because obviously the jacket's rotated. So right now I have it just straight. So you can see right now the design is just straight, but we need to rotate it. So we're gonna go to design set, this little F thing right here with the 4 F's in a square. And then we are going to rotate it. Nope, that was the wrong way. There we go. So now it matches exactly how the printout looks on my jacket. Always traces off of needle number 1. Now, use my scissors to point here. So the center of my design is all the way back here. You can hopefully see how far off they are. So I need to go this way a little bit and then back up. And I'm going to center my presser foot above my center crosshairs on my design. Sorry, I'm in front of the camera. It's hard to see at an angle. And obviously I want to make sure this is as accurate as possible. So now we are going to trace. And that looks really, really close. Now I'm going to contour trace because I have such precise accuracy that is needed on this. I'm going to contour trace. I contour trace anyways, but in this case, it is very important to know exactly where we're going to be stitching out. I don't want the bottom of the letters to be on this pocket, and I don't want the top of this F to be on the strap. So I need to make sure it's stitching exactly where I want it. So I'm going to hold down needle number 1, and I'm going to press the contour trace button. And it's going to show me exactly where it's going to stitch, and that's a little bit lower than what I'm wanting. So I think I'm going to move it up just a little bit after I check this top part. Actually, that might be spot on. I'm going to move it up just a tad. So I'm going to unlock my design, move it just a tad. I mean, you can see I barely moved it, and now I'm going to trace again. And contour. Okay, I think that looks really good. Make sure this top part doesn't hit the strap, and it looks good. So we're gonna go for it. I'm going to double check that my thread color is on black like I want. Like I said, my bobbin color is black too. I don't have to worry about any, bits of bobbin poking through or anything. And now we are good to go. Let's take this off the machine. I think that was perfect. Okay. Let's see here. I think we got it spot on, guys. Let me cut away this backing. Now zip it back up and take a good look at it. There we have it. I think it turned out absolutely perfect. It is pretty equal between the strap and the pocket. I'm really, really happy with how that turned out. Sorry the lighting's weird right here, but here is the stitch out up close, just in case you were curious and wanted to see it up close. I loved that hooping method of using the freestyle stand and going off of the side right here instead of having the bulk of the hood in your throat of the machine and everything. So I am really, really happy with how this turned out. This was really easy considering how thick it is. There's a pocket on the inside. There's many factors that you have to consider when you do a big, thick, heavy jacket like this. But all in all, it was really easy and really quick, and I'm really happy with it. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. I know it was really quick, but I hope you guys liked this tutorial. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think, and I will see you in my next video.